For those of you all that don't know me, I'm Matt Modilewski, and I've had the pleasure of being the chairman of the Public Facilities Board for a number of years now and served on that board, I think, for close to 15 years. I want to say first, I want to be part of the solution. As part of that service, I volunteered on the Revolution board. On that board, Danny Capalis, our former Parks Director, was the self-appointed treasurer of that board. That was the one position that was never open for election or even, frankly, discussion. Danny would prepare a 1 or 2 page spreadsheet. One of the line items on that was a entry field usage fee. That field usage fee was questioned not only by me but other members of the board multiple times. The problem with the field usage fee was Danny said that was what Revolution had to pay to help offset field maintenance costs at Joe Mack Campbell Park. Well, one of the board members undertook it to go look for that fee. He looked for a check from Revolution to the city for either a field usage fee or for the roughly $20-some-odd thousand that was represented on the financials. That occurred in 2024, and I'll tell you, it didn't exist. A line item of receivables by Jonesboro showed no payment had ever been received by Revolution or City Stars for that. And so this check, this payment was represented to have been made. It wasn't. Danny was confronted about that. Originally, he stuck to this representation. That's what it was for. Ultimately, when presented with the facts, he did relent and say, you know what, you're right, it's not ever been paid. I keep that in the account and I use it for whatever may be needed. An example was given by a golf cart. The point is that for years, Danny had misrepresented to the board about what this fee was and what it went to. So I took that concern to the mayor. I asked for a meeting in July of 2024. Said, hey, this is a real problem. I'm concerned that he's lying about money. Generally, where I come from, that's a big red flag. The mayor's first comment to me was, well, Matt, he's probably paying himself. And I said, Mayor, I'm not accusing him of that. We were sitting in your office. I said, all I can tell you is I don't know what's happening to it, but I'm very concerned. I'm troubled that I've made representations to donors and to players and their parents about money, and I can't tell you where it's going. He said, don't worry about it. We're going to get to the bottom of it. I will tell you, as you look through these packets, that didn't happen. You'll see a bunch of text messages from me to the mayor. There were calls and meetings in addition to those. I would say just for me alone, there was over 40 points of contact asking for something to be done about this from July 2024 through April of 2025. And I can tell you, nothing was done. In January of 2025, I was able to get a meeting with the mayor and presented a preliminary proposal, again, in an effort to try to have some accountability and transparency with regard to these programs. The ask was, let's remove this from City Stars. Let's have an account that Mr. Partee can see, that he can audit, that he can, if we need money, we'll go to him. The mayor said, absolutely. That's what we're going to do. Give me 2 weeks. In that meeting, we talked about these financial concerns again because they really hadn't been addressed. Now, I remind you, this was from July of 24 until January of 25. They hadn't been addressed. And in that meeting, the mayor again said, well, he's probably paying himself with the money. The mayor said, give him 2 weeks. You'll see text messages in here from me to the mayor begging him to respond, begging for something to happen. I actually got concerned at one point that maybe I somehow had gotten the wrong numbers. I texted his other, so he's got 2 cell phones, texted the other cell phone. Are you getting these messages? I'm concerned you're not getting these messages, but something has to be done. I'll tell you, nothing was ever done. In April, the mayor sent a text message, and you'll see the text message, inadvertently to one of the board members, talking about canceling Revolution. You talk about a knife to the heart. I've donated hundreds and hundreds of hours to these kids to try to provide them a pathway to develop through youth sport. And our mayor, on one hand, was telling me, we're going to get to the bottom of this, we're going to fix it, we're going to make it right. And on the other hand, inadvertently sent a text saying he's going to cancel the program. As soon as we resign, the mayor gets on KIT and says the kids are his priority. We're going to make sure we take care of this. That's number one. Well, that's what I'd been hearing for almost a year, and it hadn't happened. Not only did the mayor not do anything, you saw the tourism awards the administration nominated Danny for Sports Tourism Person of the Year in October of '25, knowing that for then over a year, concerns had been expressed about misrepresentations that he had made regarding finances, City Star structures, conflicts of interest, et cetera. And instead of addressing those, it was more important that we put form over substance, that we gave a public image that everything was good and everything was fine. So let's just keep doing what we're doing. And I would encourage you guys to go back and look at a particular finance meeting where that audit was presented. Councilman McLean asked a really important question. If I do work for City Stars, I get a 1099, I don't get paid in cash. Mr. Capala stepped up here to this podium and he said, correct, absolutely nobody's paid in cash. You'll see an excerpt in here of the transcript from that finance meeting where that line is omitted. I don't know why, but that's a really important line to leave out. Given the history that you'll see in here and the concerns about finances and money, to leave out that line and that critical juncture is very troubling to me. I don't know what it means, but I just know it's troubling.
Jerry Morgan, Chair of the Jonesboro Advertising Promotions Commission. I've been doing this for 7 or 8 years now. Our community is made up of volunteers. It's hard to find good volunteers that actually want to serve in our community and be very active. It's hard. I mean, everybody's busy. Everybody's working. Through this process, I don't know how many volunteers we lost last year. It was 8 to 10. I'm not sure how many were on that board. They raised concerns over programming. They raised concerns over field usage. And then they raised concerns over financial irregularities. And nothing happened, and they finally said, heck with it, we're going to give up. There's no sense in fighting this, and we don't want to be a part of this if there's no transparency. The mayor's comments said, I have talked to several members of our Parks Advisory Committee, and I know Jim has talked to most of them, if not all of them, as well as to them about our youth sports programs. I don't know who talked to them or who communicated with them, but I've talked to several, had several call me, and most of them had not been talked to anybody before that city council meeting the last city council meeting. If I'm wrong, let me know. Let me know who you talked to, because several of them said, they have not heard from anybody. And we're making decisions on programming going forward, just like nothing happened without any input from stakeholders. A&P's not been involved, the facilities board hasn't been involved, and it seems like most of the Parks Commission has not been involved. So why would you go through and start making decisions without the input from the stakeholders?
But tonight reminds me a little bit when I sold real estate full-time. I was showing a house, and I got bit by a dog. And the person that I was representing that I was going to make money off of acted like it didn't happen. I mean, it was unbelievable. The guy never said a word about his dog biting me. We had a shark bite tonight, and the mayor read from a script like a robot talking about the weather. So the folks that are concerned about stuff, the mayor's not going to do a thing about it. So it's going to be up to this council for us to make change. And I mean, the FBI has been in city offices, and we're sitting here acting like everything's just going great. So it's time for us to get serious.
Concern of mine is that we saw minutes that were altered. Just curious if somebody can give me some clarity on why something was removed.
A response to that, there is an ongoing investigation, and that will exonerate our office.
I don't know how much we can talk about the FBI investigation, but they've investigated that, and they found no wrongdoing on that.
To remove, to alter the minutes?
It wasn't altered. The minutes weren't altered. I think what happened is a phone rang. I believe it was the time that my phone unfortunately went off during the meeting, of all the great timing. And I think that disrupted when the minutes were being typed. And yeah, we've all answered questions about that. And they found no wrongdoing on the part of the city clerk's office on the minutes. And that's who is 100% in charge of the minutes. I don't have any say-so on the minutes, nor does anyone else. So, yeah.
Okay. That's all I got.
Yeah.
At public comments.
Daniel Gary. For 12 years, I've coached here in town. I've poured thousands of hours into coaching hundreds of our youth because I believed our kids needed a good place to grow that's built on honesty and integrity, not deception, not lies. But while those of us on the board were operating in good faith, leadership at City Hall was allowing a culture of deception. Core of the issue is simple. Parks and Recreation Director lied to volunteers and parents about our finances for years. Wasn't a secret for over a year. The board reported this to the mayor. He sent warning after warning to the mayor's office about serious financial red flags. You've got the documents now. Instead of stepping in to protect the families, the kids, the mayor gave empty promises he'd fix it. Never did. It's hard to ignore this period of stalling and ignoring it and hoping it went away. Occurred right in the middle of his re-election campaign. Feels like accountability was sidelined for political convenience, leaving volunteers to be misled and families to stay in the dark. After months of hitting a wall of silence and excuses, our entire board felt we had no option but to resign. After the resignation, the mayor met with me in my office, looked me in the eye and promised that we were going to find a path forward. He promised me 3 things. One of those is going to be getting Revolution financially independent. One of those is going to be figuring out a way to help fund it. The other one was he was going to offer an apology to our board president for the repeated disrespect and dishonesty he showed. And to my knowledge, that apology has never been offered. And that's a shame. The city deserves better. What I saw with Danny was not poor communication, it was a deliberate cover-up. When we discovered that the missing budget item for field usage, I asked Danny for a City Stars board roster so I could understand what was going on. Danny gave me a list of private citizens who I then followed up with. I called them, they didn't have a clue what I was asking about. I followed up with Danny, sent him an email. He gave me a new list, all Parks and Rec employees that reported directly to him. Wasn't an oversight. The mayor's office was fully aware of every bit of this and failed to do a single thing about it. It's been 18 months since he received his first contact. And the mayor only made a single visible action once the FBI raided Danny Capellas' home and his office. Even then, the goal wasn't transparency. It was a power grab to take control of our youth sports programming. Letting the same leadership that turned a blind eye to years of financial deception now dictate the future of youth sports in Jonesboro is a mistake. Tells the public nothing's changed. I understand the instinct to wait for the outcome of an FBI investigation, but criminal investigations determine guilt. They don't determine whether this city's leadership has met its ethical obligations. Moral failures of the mayor and his administration are already documented, and they require action now. The mayor didn't just fail to protect youth sports, he failed to act when warned, allowed deception to continue, and in doing so, exposed this city to national scrutiny through an FBI investigation. All while prioritizing political expediency over accountability. If the council does not intervene now, the message is that protecting political power matters more than protecting our kids. I'm asking you to draw a firm line here and say that Jonesboro is not willing to accept that. You have an ethical and professional responsibility to step in, slow this down, and take ownership of what happens next. Youth sports should not be consolidated under an administration that prioritizes politics over the truth. This transition needs independent oversight and public accountability led by this council with representation from the A&P Commission and the Public Facilities Board. Let's empower the Sports Advisory Council that Matt and Jerry mentioned to make educated decisions about our kids, make sure they're taken care of. Our kids deserve a system they can trust, and I'm asking you to be the leaders our city and our kids need that is missing from City Hall. Thank you.
Please state your name. You cannot speak on anything that's been spoken about earlier.
Jeremy Terrell. I'm going to try to be, I don't think I'll be as nice as Jerry or Matt, but here's the truth. The truth is I got up here in April. I did the math. It's incredibly frustrating. And the math that I did was only on soccer. It didn't include the other sports. And then I got asked, by Carol to provide names to those that have been given cash. It's incredibly frustrating because, you asking me to give you something instead of you going out and finding those names and asking around, that's incredibly frustrating to me. your job is to make sure that we're acting as legal as possible. And, with all due respect, I didn't have any confidence that if I gave you the names, anything would have happened. At some point in time, we got to start listening to the people of Jonesboro. At some point in time, we got to quit talking about how awesome we are and how awesome we're going to go and what we're going to do and look at all of the stuff that we've done and really do these things. That's the important thing that we have to do. We have to move forward. And we have to do it in a way that protects kids, that protects the taxpayers, that represents the kids and the taxpayers and the future of Jonesboro. And the problem is there's a lot of things going on that doesn't do that. And it's a total reflection of the leadership of our town. You guys know I'm critical, and man, I try to be solutional too. And it's tough. But you guys are the oversight. You guys are. And it's important that you hold our elected officials accountable. If they're not doing their jobs, we would love to hear it during these meetings. And we would love the demand that we do better. We can no longer just sit by and act like things aren't happening. I called something a baby audit, and man, you'd have thought I shot somebody. It was. Now we know, now we find out it was a baby audit. And we asked the person that is now in investigation by the FBI to pick somebody to do the audit. Like, that's crazy time. That's not transparency. That's not us doing our job and wanting to get to the root and cause of things. Mary, if you said to Matt Modilewski numerous times that he's probably paying himself.
Cindy, your comments. Your comments are over.
That's
Terrell,
crazy.
your comments are over.
So
thank you.
I
Had
encourage
5
you
minutes.
guys to do better. And I know you guys are great people. To heed a little bit more about what's been going on and hold people accountable. Thank you.